Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, man.
My head's a little squishy from the show.
Yeah, how was the show?
It was pretty good. I had a problem with, I wear these in-ear monitors, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so normally I kind of clip the earphones like to my shirt so they don't pull down your, and then they stick to your back.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you move at all, they keep pulling out of your ears.
Yeah.
And so you have to clip them. But I lost the clip like a couple shows ago. So I've been using like bobby pins, you know, these pins that women use to like, and they don't work. And then it's just sort of like that and duct tape.
That's why you asked for the duct tape,
Yeah, and so it was just one of those things, I couldn't get anybody's attention, and I don't like to talk about it in front of the audience, because it just seems really stupid, you know?
I actually didn't get what you wanted on the stage with duct tape, so...
To put on my nipples? You know what I mean? Like, what is he talking about, the crazy singer? Yeah, and so they kept pointing out, and then at one point, my right ear disconnected.
Oh.
And yeah, and it's just annoying because you're trying to have fun, and you're literally like just wearing these headphones that keep pulling out, and
that's
so
annoying,
the whole time you have to think about that. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the show was great. I mean, the audience was awesome. It was really, really, and I like this venue a lot. It's such a good venue.
How many times have you played here in Dortmund?
Well, we played many times in Dortmund. At this venue, I've played here, I think, at least 4 times now.
Okay.
But I've done 2 acoustic shows here. I think Lagwagon's played here twice, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But in the old days, we played another place. We used to play this place. I can't remember the name, but it was kind of neat too because it was a smaller place, but it had this sort of these bars out in front that would go over the whole crowd, and it's hard to explain what these things are. I don't really understand exactly what they are, but they're triangular shaped. And they're made out of metal, and they were hanging across the venue, across the ceiling. So people would jump up on them and like do dives off of those. And when you played a show there, you could climb out onto the crowd on them. You know, it was pretty cool. If I had only one complaint, really, it's just that I felt like I was a mile away from the crowd tonight. Like I couldn't stage dive; it was too far, and I like to be able to get out there.
And you're going to play some festivals as well this year, Hurricane Festival.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy more, smaller club shows or those festivals?
Yeah.
Club shows.
The club shows, yeah. I mean, sorry.
No, that's okay, man.
There's a little bone in that one. More bone. I mean, festivals are fun, but there's not the same kind of synergy at a festival. Festivals just feel like theater, like you're performing entirely. And the festival kind of vibe is a little bit more like, you know, there's going to be a lot of people there that aren't your 20%. They're not like in love with your band. They're just watching a band they haven't heard of. And you have, maybe in front, you have like your core fans, you know, but you have lots and lots of people who've never seen you. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I don't care about them at all. Like, I just don't know how to try to make, like, I just don't have it in my brain to go, let's get new fans. I mean, we're lucky.
You focus on that.
Yeah, and so there's like a sea of people that are out there that are kind of like,
I
don't know. And then you play like a cover, you know, like Brown Eyed Girl or something, and everybody's like, yay, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I mean?
When you play May 16, then... Okay, I played Tony Hawk though, so I know that.
Oh, I know this band, yeah.
Fuck this, I'm done arguing. Our fate is not bound to your code for damn man. And the doctrine that you serve does not serve this discussion. Irrelevant nonsense disqualifies you. It's a sonnet, there's no way to put a ribbon on it. While you're leaving, the rest of us will be here grieving.
I've been able to meet a lot of people in my life playing festivals that I never would have met. And that's pretty nice.
Is there any idol band or something for you? When you talk about those people you would like to.
There was, when I was younger, the Ramones were a big thing for me. And then I met all of them, and I ended up roadieing for them.
Really?
Just one night. And they were so nice. And it was, I mean, so that was when I was like, I think I was like 17 when I did that. And so that was kind of that. It was like, all right, mission accomplished. But you know, there's certain people, songwriters for sure. I'd like to meet Paul Simon. My wife actually has met Paul Simon a few times, like, because she knows his son, and she's had dinner with him in New York. She kind of comes from a different background than me, and she knows a lot of different people, and she knows a lot of New Yorkers because she lived in Manhattan for a really long time.
Okay.
And I've just never really. A couple times I've been with her, like Mike D from the Beastie Boys, would like come bring his kid to hang out with us in a park.
Sweet.
Yeah, totally, man. And it's like one of those things like, God, your friends are so much cooler than my friends. Damn. But Paul Simon, I would like to meet him. And I think I would like to have met Elliott Smith again. I met Elliott Smith once. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was maybe like next to the Beatles for me, like my all-time favorite songwriter. And I met him one night at a show in LA, and I was sitting at the bar doing what I do, just by myself, drinking a little whiskey before my friend's band played. And he sat down right next to me, and he ordered the same whiskey I was drinking, and he was drinking them. And I noticed I noticed him right away, and I was like, you know, I mean, like, I got nervous. Like, how do I start a conversation with a total stranger, you know? I don't want to say that thing, man, I'm a huge fan. Because immediately that's just, it just ruins the whole vibe. The only way you can meet people, I think, that have dealt with, like, fame and stuff, beyond, like, the kind of, our thing's different, because, like, you know, I don't know, I feel like our thing's different. I feel like it's more like the punk rock thing in the sense that it's just like everybody's the same or something, you know, so it's different. But the only way to meet people like that, I think, is if you have a mutual friend and they say, hey, I'm going to go out to dinner with this guy, you want to come? And then you meet him like, you know, we're just having dinner together.
Yeah.
And then the trust thing is there. And if the trust thing's there, it's really lovely, you know. But this was like him sitting next to a bar. I mean, there's no one at the bar. We're in this like glass house kind of thing in the middle of this venue. And I'm just sitting there going, you got to think of something to say, man. Like, this is like this is my hero. And so I can't believe what I said, because he was drinking 3 like whiskeys.
Okay.
Big whiskeys for every one that I drank, and I think of myself as a pretty big drinker. And he was just another one, you know. And I'm sitting there, and so finally, all I could think to say was like, "Man, you're really filing those things back. You might want to slow down a little bit, buddy." And he just looks at me like, "Yeah," because he's really like a humble, sweet guy. Well, he's dead now, and that was it. That was it. Like, I think we had like 2 more words or something, you know.
But you talked to him. You sat next to him and you had a drink, maybe with him. So.
But I probably should have just gone for it and said, "Look, all kidding aside, like, I know you hear this all the time, but just think yeah."
Sweet.
You have little regrets like that in life, you know how it is. I mean, there's things that happen. You get that one opportunity and you don't do it quite the way you want to do it. That's the way life is, you know?
Yeah.
It's not always perfect.
But it's okay when you learn from it. Next time, try to do it better.
I had another one that was similar to that. We played, Metallica did this show in Germany. And I don't even remember what part of Germany it was, but it was a mountainous part, so...
Rock am Ring, maybe?
No, it wasn't a real festival. It was their
Okay.
own show.
Oh, okay.
And it was their own show in the middle of, like, nowhere. Like, nowhere near a city, up in the mountains. They just rented, you know, like a...
The Metallica style.
Yeah, massive area. and it's their show, and there's literally 50,000 people at the show. And for some reason, they had heard about us, or someone in the band liked our band, so they asked us to open the show.
Okay.
They asked us. They asked Sum 41 because they had met them through like some sort of ceremonial thing where they were given a Lifetime Achievement Award.
That Hall of Fame.
Do you remember
thing.
that?
Yeah, Sum 41 did a cover.
Yeah. So they'd met them that night, really liked them because, Canadians are the best people on the planet. And then the other band was Placebo.
Yeah. Wow,
It
that's
was
quite
a really
mixed up.
odd bill. And we played first, of course.
How was the show?
We were like okay, but I don't think the fans really got us. I mean, at those kind of shows, they're just going, what time is Metallica going to play? Like, who is this dumb band that I have to listen to? And they're just drinking.
Yeah.
But it was that many people. So the show was just like whatever, and we knew it was going to be like that. But the thing that was really cool about it is that the Metallica guys were so great. Their backstage area was just a really large open space surrounded by tents.
Okay.
And the tents were in a circle, and then they had these picnic tables, kind of like tables like these set up, and they just hung out all day. So all day we're just hanging out with them. But we flew out for the one show, so I had this really tremendous jet lag. Like, I don't even get that anymore, but back then I got it. And I was sitting there drinking a coffee, and I'm sitting there, and, I grew up listening to Metallica, of course, I mean, I liked metal just as much as I liked punk. And Hetfield walks over to me at one point. I'm sitting there and I see him coming. I'm like, oh my God, like I got nothing. My brain's just gooey right now. And I'm sitting with one of the Sum 41 guys, and I'm thinking, well, this guy knows him, so I'm golden because I've known these guys forever. Like, he's going to introduce me, and then we're going to end up chatting. Like, that's how you want to meet someone, like I said, right?
Yeah.
Sure enough, he says nothing. He's just sitting there, like, and James comes up and he goes, hey guys, how's it going? And I'm waiting to get introduced, and it doesn't happen. Waiting. I swear, like almost a minute went by, and here's me sitting in this chair. There's the guy from Sum 41, and here's Hetfield just standing over us, and he finally just goes, whatever, and just walks off. And I literally was like, no, come back. I have things to say. And then I hit like my friend and someone. I was like, dude, you're supposed to introduce. Like, I never met him before. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just don't feel good. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, damn.
And that's that. That's it.
But you met him again?
No, I never met him since. That's
No.
the only time I ever met him. That was it. I'll probably never see him again in my life.
Ciao.
Thank you so much, Duncan. Hey.
Sad.
Pretty sad.
Damn it.
See, but this is the reason that you shouldn't have like idolatry kind of ideas. I mean, in general, I'm not like that. I was never, ever in my life when I was a kid a person that would want autographs and these kinds of things. I just never really understood that wasn't for me. But, there are people that I respect that it would be kind of nice to actually have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's one more. Dave Grohl. I don't think he likes me very much. I punished him.
Really?
Do you have this saying, like in Germany, you punishers? Do you know what this means?
Don't know.
All bands say this. When they talk about like the really drunk fan that's like, oh yeah, your band used to be great, but but now you're shit.
And you did that with all...
We call them punishers. Because
Okay.
they are punishing you, They're it's like they're kind of saying something nice, but they're also telling you you're not good or something at the same time. They're kind of attacking you. Most people aren't like this. Most people are really lovely, They come up and you just chat and it's great. But every once in a while you get punished. And so it's like a saying that bands have. It's like, there's some punishers here tonight. Like people are really drunk, and they're really tense. And I punished Dave Grohl. I did. A friend of mine invited me to this bar where he was hanging, and my friend Chris has been in that band for a long, long time, and a mutual friend of ours was like, yeah, I'm hanging with Dave, man, come down, you got to meet him. I was like, right, and I came down, but I got a little too drunk before I met him because they showed up at like midnight, and we were there at like 8,
Okay.
just drinking,
That's, yeah.
So by the time he showed up, I was so drunk, and
Breakfast.
what's that?
Breakfast.
Yeah. Oh, it's not really an egg,
Yes, it is. They're hard-boiled eggs.
I don't think so. I think it's
Yeah, I
made
already
out.
had one.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I was feeling it. It was so hard. I thought it was porcelain or something. I don't know if I'd eat that. Yeah, eat it. So he's sitting on this stool, and he's kind of in the corner of the bar, and he's just like hanging out. And I saw him, and I was like, "This is my chance. I'm going to talk to Dave Grohl about songwriting." And so I stumbled over to him, and I cornered him right in the corner. And it was just so rad. I don't even remember what I said, but I know that I was asking him, like, "When you write songs, man, like, what's your process? Like, how do you do it?" And he was so nice. He was so sweet. And he answered the questions that I had and everything. But there was this point in the conversation where he just looked at me really serious, and he put his hand on me. And he said, "Hey, man, is it cool if I go hang out with my girlfriend over there?" And I just was like, I realized that it had been like 20 minutes of me just, and he was just so sweet about it. And I just remember thinking, like, I was like, "Oh my God, dude, of course, I'm sorry." And he was like, "No, it's cool. You're fine, Joey. It's all right." And then, yeah, off he went.
Oh, man.
I punished him. I've seen him a bunch of times since then at shows. Like, I'll go to see shows every once in a while. Like, I went to a show in Japan because me and a bunch of Chris, who plays guitar in the band, is an old, like, I grew up with him. And so I had another band called the Playing Favorites, and we did a tour in Japan where we, we're all old best friends, and Chris was one of us, And so the Foo Fighters were playing the same night we played Tokyo. So we played our show, and it was kind of earlier, and then we, like, bolted all the way out to the Foo Fighters show. And I remember that was the first time I'd seen him since I'd punished him. And I remember this one point we're all hanging backstage, and he comes up, and he looks at me, and he goes, and then he just bolted. I'm like, "Oh, no, like, let me make amends, please."
Oh, man.
Anyway. You probably have actual questions.
But I enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm a little drunk.
Thanks,
I'm just
you, man.
talking words.
If you have time, I have some time, so.
I got time, man. I got nothing to do.
Broken down machinery, someday soon they will not for me. Obsolete, still heartbeats, empathy, smacks of misery.
Hang is a dark record, as you said many times before, I think. What is your opinion on social media and stuff?
Well, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I enjoy the world that we live in now. I'm a fan of technology, and I like to maintain the idea that as things change and advance, that it's more important to just accept them and kind of live with them and try to enjoy them. But obviously, the effect that social media has had on people, I think you don't have to be a psychologist to analyze the negatives of it. It certainly is making it much easier for people not to be transparent and not to be interacting as much. And, it's like, it's a little scary. It's a little scary. It's a little bit of that kind of science fiction stuff. Like when you read science fiction books when you were young, and they talked about this world that we were eventually going to live in, and it just seems so far removed. Like now those kind of ideas seem completely, viable and possible.
Yeah.
But what can we do? What can we do? The only thing we can do is we can just enough people trying to maintain the idea that it's important to interact and not just hide. There's certainly a lot of that out there. There's a lot of rhetoric out there, about social media. I imagine that will die off and that people will go the way of the science fiction book, and I'll be dead. So I feel bad for my daughter. But, it is what it is. I use it. I use it all the time. For me, it's just a tool for the music. It's one of the only ways that you can communicate with people nowadays, because there's less and less fanzines and there's less and less communication. And there's a lot of people out there talking, but you can kind of develop a pretty big network, and there's something really nice about the fact that you're directly speaking to people. I think that the interesting part of it is when you're my age, that the dynamic that you have is still a dynamic where I know how it used to be. So for me, I'm still kind of getting off on the idea that I'm now speaking directly to people that like what I do. And I love that the middleman's taken out. I really enjoy that. But more and more of the people that I speak to never knew the world where that wasn't the case. So there's a little bit of entitlement, and sometimes people are really rude or say, they kind of have this idea that they're entitled to say whatever they want to say and treat you any way that they want to treat you because they're safe, because you're not with them. And I think that's kind of a problem, because part of the reason that human interaction creates those barriers, it kind of creates the limits to the things that you can say to people. Also, I think there's a little problem with people really knowing who they are, because if they live a life where they have time to think about what they say, then it's not really the natural reaction that they have to some things. So they have a moment to think, okay, well, what would I want to be? What would I want to be? How do I want to be perceived? Yeah, there's probably more negatives than positives. I don't know. But, I don't use it for social implications at all. I only use it for music. I mean, I have my own personal page because at some point, I'm talking about Facebook, and it was the same with Myspace. At some point I had a page just because it was fun. It's fun. But it wasn't long before I realized, I don't really want to, I already made the mistake of accepting too many people that I didn't know personally on my personal page. Although I have recently been kind of dumping people that I don't know. Yeah, I don't care. If I'm going to have a personal page where I go and look at it and I read about what my friends are doing that live in different places, that's another great thing about it. I have friends all over the world. I can actually just go to my Facebook page and go, oh, that's cool. That's what's going on with that guy, old friend of mine. But I just recently kind of started editing my personal page. Because it wasn't a fan page, so it maxes out at 5,000 or something.
I think so, yeah.
So it's been that way for kind of a long, long time, because in the beginning I just went, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm kind of babbling right now, but I don't know. Good and bad.
What did you prefer more, MySpace or Facebook?
Well, I think I like MySpace better for some reasons. I like the fact that MySpace in the beginning was, if you were a musician, music was a big part of it. It's a less and less important thing to people now. Music is, we've been talking about this a lot. Music is a little bit like a flyer now for a tour. It isn't quite the same thing. I still think it's a universal language that everybody speaks, so I still see that there's a power in it, and I don't imagine that'll ever go away. But the way it's delivered is different. I mean, to me, obviously, MySpace wasn't going to survive, because Facebook is just way more that people want to interact. It's just, And I remember when I first saw Facebook, I kind of thought, oh, I get it. We're already tired of MySpace. Here's the new thing. Fuck this. I'm not joining that, Because I think the older I get, what I see is that I think younger people want things to change faster because they treat everything like fashion. And this all ties into the idea that people don't really know who they are, in some ways. They don't establish, ideas of what it is that they want to represent or who they want to be. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you can go on and on and on about this stuff. I don't even like to think about it. It's a little disturbing.
Do you think that today bands have to be as good in those social media stuff as being a musician?
Say again?
That to be popular today as a band, do you think it's as important to be good in those social media stuff?
I don't think so at all. And I'll tell you why. Tool.
Yeah, okay.
Tool doesn't do any of that stuff. They literally do zero media, like especially networking, social media stuff. They don't do any of that stuff. And because they've, I mean, obviously they were at a point, so they had the license to be able to do this. But they announced a tour, and it sells out in like 5 seconds. The entire tour. And I think Maynard or the guitar player. The guitar player is like the artist, one of the real artists in the band. I think they knew really early on, like they got it. They were kind of like, nah, we're just going to avoid this entirely, and we're going to do this. And our fans are going to be like beloved. You know, we're going to be beloved to our fans for this. We're just going to be mysterious. That's something that's really impossible for someone to achieve now because you need to use these vehicles to even be heard. You know. Yeah. So the world's changed radically. Like Mirko, my friend here, we were discussing this earlier. We were talking about the ideas that these certain kinds of people, are like artists, you know, like positions they end up in. I'm not so sure that a lot of those positions exist anymore. Like the future might not hold a position for classic. Mm-hmm. That might not exist anymore. And I always find that kind of like, that's really fascinating to me. Like that we live in a world where there's a certain amount of things that may not exist anymore. Just, you know, common status kind of things. But I don't think that you need social media to spread your message. I think that in some ways it hinders it unless you're already established. I think for Lagwagon it's a good thing because we were already established before it happened. Mm-hmm. You know, we existed before cell phones. And because of that, it's kind of like we made a certain kind of cut that people already know who we are. So when we started networking and everything, we immediately had a lot of fans and we had a lot of followers. And I'm not bragging. I'm not proud of it. I just think that because we pre-existed to a certain status,
obviously, yeah.
that it's okay for us to do it, you know, because we are connecting directly to our fans. So there's something really great about it for us. But there's a really sad thing happening for young, new artists of any kind. I mean, to get exposure, they have to go into the sea. Mm. They go into the sea of everyone and everything, and anyone who ever wanted to be a photographer, with their apps on their phones, everyone who ever wanted to make music, with the digital like platforms that exist, anyone can do anything. So there's something lost that existed in the old age. In the old age, which was really not that long ago, so it seems so bizarre to speak about it, there was groundswell. There was a thing where if something was new or special, that there was like this tiny undercurrent, almost like a tiny earthquake, you know? They would spread, and more people would talk about it. And then when it started to come to the surface, it, you know, you had Nirvana. And
that's right.
It's just not. It doesn't really exist the same way anymore.
I'm not growing younger, and it's a short drive to an accident. I'm not sure when we'll get there. Just be patient. Oxygen waning. And someday we'll have to fight for it, devoted to raising a love for software. I have a feeling Colorado's air is not worth breathing.
You know, I heard a little bit about it, but I honestly, anytime there's like some kind of drama involving Kanye West, for example, I just don't want to know. I just don't care. I find Paul McCartney wrote a song for him or whatever. You know, that's tremendously disturbing that Paul McCartney would do that. It's such a fucking bummer. But I don't want to know. I don't care at all. Like, I have no interest whatsoever in that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. I think that guy he's worthless. Like, I literally think he has no value at all.
Okay.
As an artist. And I don't need people to know that I feel that way. I don't say that because I'm trying to make a statement. I just think he's not even in the game for me. Like, you're just not even a part of the game if you're that. He's just, you know, he's arrogant and he says really stupid things every once in a while. And everything about some of these modern celebrities' lives are so plastic. You know, they're so phony. It's so all about like selling records and being like you know, like making like 10 and 11-year-old and 12-year-old and 13-year-old and 14-year-old kids, you know, just go, oh my God, did you hear about, like, you know, that's just a soap opera. That doesn't mean a thing. I don't see any talent there.
That's what I wanted to point out because, yeah, there was this discussion like, hey, on Twitter, that's really cool that Kanye West is offering less popular people a stage like Paul McCartney, and everyone was, sorry, you don't know Paul McCartney. So what I wanted to know is, are there like,
Boy,
you remember?
I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking, actually.
Yeah, but it's okay. Paul McCartney has $1 billion.
Yeah,
And he had his time.
he had his time.
No, I mean, come on. The Beatles should be always known. I don't know. I'm not surprised.
That's how time goes, actually. But
That's it, you know?
are there like free?
This kind of pulls back to the conversation we were having earlier, you know, when I was saying, Mirko and I were talking about this, who was sitting here a while ago, but I think he got bored with and he left. This idea that things like classics aren't going to exist anymore because everything now is so much like fashion. It goes and comes fast. It's so fast, you know? So there you go. Like, I mean, when you got a guy like, you know, Kanye West, and there are people that are responding to things that are, you know, this is like why I wrote our new record. I mean, this is it right here. The blatant disregard and disrespect for history. I mean, it's not just music. It's in general, like this kind of idea, like this sort of entitled, arrogant idea that I don't really need to know anything about what happened. I mean, I feel like the place we're headed in the world, I mean, in general, I really believe that we're headed to a place where people don't even know what wars happened or, you know, and how can you learn from mistakes, or how can you have a collective wisdom as humans without any history? That part is enough to make me just want to quit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even... But there was a lot about with the Hang record. That's probably why I finally just decided to write an angry record like that, you know? It's really, really sad.
Anyone can be the one that you want. You only have to see it through until you feel indifference. Take a wife, a child, a family name, file them under Johnson, Doe, Smith, or Boren. There's still condos in Simple Town to settle down on a wing and a smile. You go out in style.
You will be on tour with Alkaline Trio in the UK, and I think you heard from that Blink thing.
Sure.
Matt Skiba.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? Is he cool for being in Blink?
Well, I mean, I think it's, you know, people do what they want to do. I know that Matt's actually a big fan of the band. I think a lot of people's perception of it is that, you know, maybe it's something that, like, a money thing or whatever, like that he's doing it for. But I know him, and I can tell you that he loves that band. Like, he's just like a huge fan of the band. And it's a Alkaline Trio is like kind of very different, so I think it's kind of hard for people to get that that's something that's possible. But yeah, no, he just really loves the band, and so he's in a band that he always liked.
The best thing you can do, actually.
Right? But the thing is, the other thing that I think maybe people don't understand, because they're looking at it at face value, is that maybe it's going to affect Alkaline Trio. I think it will affect Alkaline Trio, but in a good way. You know, maybe Alkaline Trio is a great band. You know,
They are, actually, yeah.
Maybe they'll get a little more in this day and age where it's so difficult to get any sort of publicity for a band. There's going to be a bunch of young kids that listen to them now.
And what's the best then? Being in Blink 182, I think.
It's okay, you know. I mean, and I like the guys in Blink. They're good guys. You know, I mean, I think he's really having fun. Hey, you know, it's music. I don't have a gang mentality about music. I think you play music, you play with whoever you want to play with, and just have a good time doing it.
Yeah. If they had asked you, what?
Oh, I would have said no for sure.
Really?
Of course.
Not for only one show or something?
Well, I'm not. There's, you know, I'm a different person.
Okay.
It wouldn't be for me. I'm not Tom DeLonge. I'm Joey Cape, the old guy in Lagwagon.
The cool guy in Lagwagon.
But it just wouldn't work for me. I mean, I like those guys a lot, you know, it's just not, yeah, I don't know. But maybe for Matt, it's an okay thing, because he really loves it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying anything bad. That's the important part of what I'm saying here, is that I have nothing bad to say. Because I like these people a lot, and I'm not avoiding something bad too. I wouldn't, no.
But that's okay, I think.
But it wouldn't make sense for me either, you know?
No, I was waiting on the train station.
Yeah.
So, and I was wondering, is there any cool question to ask? So.
I like the way you phrase that. I've been getting asked about that a lot lately, and for the most part, I don't have much of an opinion about it, but yeah, you know, I mean, I just don't think it's as big a deal as everybody seems to be making out of it. But that's the world we live in. I mean, you know, people want to, I don't know, they want to make a really big deal out of everything. It's just weird. But that's good for those guys. Maybe they'll sell more concert tickets, you know. I mean, there's no such thing as bad press.
That's it.
I think it's a good thing for Mark Travis, because they had to deal with Tom for a long time, and I think that they just didn't get along at all. And clearly, like they've stated, you know, I'm not saying anything new. And I like those guys, and so they're much happier now. And even if they don't have some great success, Skiba singing, they're happier, so they can enjoy playing music. You should enjoy it. And I think it's good for Matt, because he's a huge fan of the band, and he's in a band he wanted to be in. But it's not going to affect Alkaline Trio. They're still going to keep playing shows, because that's him. I mean, Alkaline Trio is Matt Skiba. Like, the other guys are very much a part of it too, of course, Dan and Derek. But it's just, that's like me, Lagwagon, like it's me. Been in this band forever. It doesn't matter what other bands I do. This is always going to be like, that's me. So he's not going to stop. The only thing that can happen is maybe they'll have more fans.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
It's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much, really.
That was really pleasant, man. I really like talking to you. Thanks so much.